Hello. Super excited to do this second toe reading for you. These toes, this was back in fall, in November, and these toes are current. And so we're going to look at obviously the current toes and then just look at it in a contrast from a few months ago, about 6 months ago. So let's first of all remind ourselves left foot is internal. It's all the things inside our spirit path, the way we communicate with ourselves, action, relationship with self, and trust and prosperity, all in the inner world. Right foot is external world. External meaning how you experience the world and how others experience you. And life path, communication, action, relationships, trust, and prosperity. So the first thing is let's talk about this intuition. This channel of intuition is nice and wide. Following that intuition, knowing your inner knowing is your one of your biggest gifts, your deepest guides is that inner knowing. So trust it and follow it. When we look at what's going on with this spirit path toe, there is, well, this is a great space here. And do you see how if this toe tracked just a little bit straighter, a reminder, this is not about aesthetics. This is just about how the energy is flowing through the toes, and then that carries out into how we are in this life. And so this toe right here, it's bending in just a little bit by paying a little bit of intentional attention to this toe, holding the toe here while gently pushing out here, especially moving across the nail in this area. So from the inside of the toenail, so from the left side of the toenail, moving out towards the center line, that is going to really start to move that energy. So it's going to be a motion like this, where I'm moving across that toenail towards the center line and then holding right here because we always want to stabilize. We're never forcing anything. We're just inviting the energy, holding here and gently pushing up that way. So a motion that looks like this. While saying a mantra or asking questions about your spirit path. Where am I on my spirit path? Am I on the right place in this path for right now? Of course, the answer is yes. The question really with that intention is where where am I moving on this path? Do I want to move a little more to the left, to the right? Do I want to take this fork in the road? This is the kinds of questions we want to ask because it's relatively straight. There's just some energy here that is having it lean a little bit this way. And you can see from your last picture, you've actually increased your channel of intuition here because this toe has slightly shifted this way. When we look at your second toes here, there is, in both photos, there is some blocked energy. However, in this one, there is additional blocked energy. So this is communication, communication with self. This toe could use a good rub all the way down to the end. Just rub, rub, rub. And as you're doing that, inviting the energy blockages to release. Sometimes it's fun to know, we're curious to know, oh, what are all these things? This is actually older energy. If you need to know what it is, it's going to come into your mind. A lot of this is just energy it's worked through, but it hasn't quite worked its way out of your body and it's showing up in your dear toes to let you know just finish releasing this. There's just a couple more things, but you may not even need to know it consciously. So just spending a little bit of time with that, even if it's just in the shower or bath, while you're sitting down and reading, and you just cross your legs, put that toe in your um, hands and just gently rub it. It's really going to release. You will want to, and this was the same recommendation as last time for this toe. Do you see how this toenail is coming this way? This is going the opposite way. So we see them coming together like this. And we don't want that to happen because that blocks some of the intuitive information that's coming into us. And so taking your thumb and just rubbing across, but in the opposite direction as on that first toe. So moving the toenail this way and a gentle twist on the top of that toe. Again, always gently. This is only about gently moving the energy, thanking your toes for showing us this energy, and then letting it release. Let's move over to your right side, your external side, and talk about your uh, life path toe and your communication toe here. Now, I know that you were in a serious accident where this foot was crushed several years ago. So I just want to acknowledge your beautiful, amazing body for healing up, for being in a place where you walk without a limp. It is so amazing what our bodies can do. Thank you, toes. Thank you, toes. Thank you, toes and feet, for carrying us hundreds of thousands of miles in a lifetime, maybe more. That would be an interesting thing to look up. Hundreds of thousands of miles in a lifetime. And we are, we rarely give our feet and toes the attention that they actually deserve. And so, whew, all right, that one is something for you. That was an energy release kind of yawn. So energy is already starting to move here. So that's beautiful. Life path toe. Where are you on your life path? Here's one thing that made me very pleased. There is a little bit more meatiness to this toe here than we had in the picture 6 months ago. There's a little bit more of a groundedness to it, and there's more of the toe touching the earth. And a lot of the same things as here with the spirit path. This is our path of intuition, the channel of intuition between the first and second toe. So same thing is gently, and on this one, I'd recommend a gentle rub up here to stabilize. So moving up here, while gently pushing the toe out this way. So moving, moving in this direction. The toenail is quite straight. Um, there could be a little bit of movement this way. This is mostly the toe. And so, really focusing in on that toe is going to open up this channel of leadership. Now, wherever you are in your life, this can look so many different ways because we move in different leadership roles in our life. We're leaders of ourselves, we're leaders of our families, we're leaders of our careers, we're leaders of groups. When we move into a crone stage, what are we leading? We're largely leaders of ourselves, and leadership can look very, very different. So, a good question to ask is, what does my leadership style look like in this place in my life, at this point in my life? Because that's the beautiful thing about the crone era of our lives is we actually have many more choices in how we show up because we've lived a few more years. We've got a few more road miles on the road of life. And so deciding what that looks like for you, well, energetically moving energy, shifting energy, aligning energy, and supporting energy through this life path leadership toe. Same thing with this toe, as I said, for this toe, much less blocked energy. In fact, that's one of the positive changes that I see. If you look here, your channel of leadership is slightly more open than it was 6 months ago. There was more blocked energy in your toe 6 months ago, and it is releasing. Now, one of the things is this toenail is slightly more turned than it was 6 months ago. So this is communication. Where have you felt stifled in your communication? What do you want to communicate? And why aren't you? There can be so many reasons why you're not communicating what you want to, including that it's just not what we want to do because it may not be kind, it may not be in alignment, it may not do any good, but that doesn't change the difference that we may want to communicate that. So that desire is bouncing around in our bodies, showing up in our toes, and we're not acting on it. And you are such an action taker. These straight action toes, such an action taker. And so releasing the energetic signature that desire has left in our body. And then when that desire comes up again, consciously moving that out in through our entire body and into our toes. And by gently rubbing across the top of the nail in this manner is really going to help move that energy. And it's even going to help with any desires that we may not want the desires, or it can also give us great ideas about ways that we can communicate what we want in a way that is more aligned. Because let's face it, sometimes there are just things, and communicating it in the most ideal way brings the most desired outcomes. Talking about your action toes, continue to take action. That is one thing that I absolutely love about you, and I see it show up in your life. When you decide something, you go. You're in, you don't wishy-wash around, you take action. Continue to do that. And look at the action, especially in the outside world. There's a little more blocked energy in this action toe than there is in this action toe. So when it's an externally motivated action, it might be kind of the same thing as the communication. Um, there might be actions taken, but without desire to back it, or actions not taken and there's a desire. So just moving that energy through. It's going to feel so, so good. Your relationship toes. I feel like your relationship toes, especially relationship with the outside world, has shown some improvement. It's shown some evolution. When we looked back here, there was a leaning into that action toe quite a bit. That action toe was getting a little squished on both sides, and the toenail was pointed towards the outside. When we look at this one, there's still a little bit of blocked energy in there, but that toenail is much straighter, much more straightforward, and there's a little more space here. This is excellent. So, all of these things, by just rubbing these toes, setting the intention, and speaking a mantra, journaling about what's coming to you, or just being cognizant of that as you're uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Is you're energetically working and creating with your toes is going to be great to continue this relationship and how you're showing up in the outside world, finding that strength. From the internal perspective, it looks largely the same. It's a little bit of blocked energy, not too much, just continuing to release things from the past, things from the present that do not serve you, and a light twist to this toe can bring things more present. So, question for you as you're doing this: in what ways with your relationship with self are you not present? Is that looking to the past for a time when maybe you felt more present, or maybe there were other things that were happening that had you feel more alignment in your relationship with self? Um, and in what ways do you depend on action to numb some of the things you might feel in your relationship with yourself? Just consider these questions. And again, if the language doesn't work for you, change the language. The energy is there, and I'm interpreting the energy as it's going through my filter. So always changing the language to be language that works for you. The little toes, the prosperity and trust toes. Um, Much the same here on this side. So this toe could use, these are toes that often get injured, broken, squished in heels, or just generally squished in our shoes. And so sometimes they do carry a lot of energy as well as generational stuff. So just allowing trust issues, prosperity issues from generations past and from generations future to release through that. Um, I know that you've been through some stuff, and looking at this toe, you've made some really soul evolution leaps through some of the things that you've gone through. When we look at this toe here, it was almost hiding underneath that relationship toe and really turned to the future. This one, a little less turned to the future, and there is more of a general meatiness, just like with this toe, to this toe. So Well done. Well done, Soul Evolution. So, top recommendations for this toe reading would be these two toes on both feet, especially the left, and bringing in more alignment through the physicality of the toes and asking the energy to track in a more straight way, opening up this channel of leadership, opening up this channel of intuition, and then continuing to take action, this intentional action. This is something that really does feed your soul. And then continue working on trust and prosperity. And I feel like a lot of this is generational for you, for your children and children's children, and for your ancestors. So please let me know if you have any questions at all. Well done, and we'll see you very soon.